I am David Dakota, God of 1313.
Shut up, David the Cock!
It's Dakota!
I am well aware.
Hi, David.
And just who are you two mortals?
We are ShitFlix.
Motherfucker.
So why are you talking to me?
Well, we watch shitty films.
Yes? And?
I don't think he knows.
He doesn't know, man. Someone should tell him.
You should probably tell him.
Why do I have to...
You're David.
Damn it. David?
Yes?
Your films are shitty.
Lies! They're on Netflix!
Oh, so is Sandy Hook Lingerie Party Massacre. So go the fuck away.
Wait. What movie of mine are you doing?
We're doing Hercules Unbound.
Oh, I gotta go.
So,
We watched a movie today.
Hercules Unbound.
13-month Flowzon. Yeah.
This is the most frustrating sit. Alright, I have a question for you, David.
Okay.
Literally, out of all of the entire movie, how much did you actually pay attention?
I tried to pay attention every time that they were talking.
Which wasn't much.
So I'd have to say
Thankfully.
a good 10% of the film I was paying attention.
I had that feeling that like the script for this movie was like 5 pages.
Oh, it must have been.
Because there is barely any dialogue in this movie, which...
5 pages at like triple spacing.
Well, the thing is, like, also, like, you know, normally, considering the quality of the 1313 movies, you would think that I would take this as a godsend. But there's a problem with that. When there isn't stilted dialogue going on, nothing is going on, and they try to make it into something. Alright.
Plot?
Plot. There is an actual plot here.
I know, it's crazy.
It's bizarre. The funny thing is, it takes forever for the plot to happen. But
Okay.
go for it.
Now, alright, first off, before I start, it's all ancient Greek. So they're all using names from that era. I don't know.
I think
those
he just
names.
went down, like, you know, baby boy Greek
Yeah.
names. It's like, ancient baby boy Greek names. That one's cool, that one's cool.
So I'm not going to try to say those names. I'll say the very important names, like the ones from Greek mythology. So it essentially just follows the thing of Hercules to a degree. Hera is angry with Hercules for some reason or another.
Probably just because he was a bastard child.
And Athena is on Hercules' side because reasons. And so they're both training each other to be strong without Hercules' strength or something. It ends up being just like 35 minutes of...
We'll get to that in a second.
Overall, though, at the very end, after a whole bunch of stupid-ass fight scenes throughout the course of the movie, Hercules, without his superhuman strength, takes down this one, I guess, emissary of Hera, essentially, and
Spy.
takes him down without his superhuman strength, showing that he doesn't need his powers to succeed after all. And then after the end, it says, "Oh, but Hercules had misery and woe coming in a later date."
I mean, which is true, considering the legend. He died a broken and horrible man, but at the same time, though...
It wasn't in this movie.
This movie has nothing whatsoever to do with the actual Hercules myth. Let me get that out right now. Not even close. No. One... Alright.
Where do you want to start?
Let me start again with the setting. No, with the setting. The setting, before we get into anything else. Now, this is obviously supposed to be in ancient Greece. Now, we've tried to see David Dakota try to do a period piece with Billy the Kid and, you know, ceiling fans and light fixtures and all that kind of stuff. But at the same time, some aspects of it can pass by, like the barn and all that jazz, but...
It looked okay.
It was, besides the puke yellow.
We're talking about Billy the Kid, by the way.
Yeah.
Not
This movie, this is how they set the setting. They use 2 things.
Pool.
No.
No?
This is literally how to set the setting.
Oh,
they use 2 photographs
for establishing shots, essentially.
of the Parthenon. nowadays.
Not when it would have been during Hercules' age, all in its pristine glory as a temple to Zeus or Athena or whatever.
It was Athena.
Yeah. Not then. No. Nowadays, where in the photos you see scaffolds of them repairing it.
Yeah.
Was it too hard to just say ancient Parthenon in old times, not ancient Parthenon now? Was it that hard?
I think he just typed in Parthenon.
He probably did.
And just got the biggest photo he could. These photos definitely were not taken by him. I've seen these photos on Google before.
We could probably find them.
We probably could find them, but I'm not going to worry about that because that has to involve editing, and that's probably more effort than he put into this. Yeah. Like, this has seriously... I mean, I keep saying this about the movies as we go along, but this has seriously got to be his laziest 1313 entry. Like, the time when we were doing Bermuda Triangle, and there were these long sections of them just randomly working out, and I'm like, now they're just using the Greek excuse of Olympians, like, you know, bodybuilding and wrestling and all that kind of stuff, just to have people posing. These guys spend half the padding posing. They're not even working out, they're posing.
So, in the beginning, there's I'm going to call him Pepto-Bismol. I don't know his name. Pepto-Bismol is Hercules' trainer. He is hired by Athena in order to...
He's hired by
train,
Athena.
Essentially. I don't know. And he's like, no, I shall train him, blah, blah, blah. And so, then him, this other guy, and then these three Aryans are...
These three Aryans.
They're blonde-haired, and I'm pretty sure blue-eyed.
They're all tools.
They are. They are all in a training montage, essentially, which consists of them running, swinging a sword, which Matt had a problem with, but that's up to him.
We'll get to that.
Swinging a sword, what was one? Shot put, javelin, and grappling wrestling.
Well, wrestling. And to be honest, to the movie's credit, this is the only credit I can probably give you, is that these are legitimate Greek sports. The Olympics came from Greece. All of these different types of things came from Greece. The problem...
They're not doing the sports.
They're not doing it right.
They're not doing any of them.
One, none of these fuckers can throw a javelin to save their lives.
They're not trying to throw the javelin. They're like, here, just get it off screen and we'll take care of it. Like,
and then oh my god, the reuse of shots in this movie is worse than every 1313 movie we've encountered. Like, there are so many reused shots to the nth degree, including the stock footage and stock photos.
Here's the thing. Okay. Maybe they didn't have a lot of javelins. Maybe they didn't have a lot of shot puts. I don't know. I wasn't there. But I don't think they did. Because they threw the javelin. They threw the shot put. And it landed. And they showed the shot of it landing.
Bounces.
I'm not even talking about that. I'm talking the fact that they had, like, first one lands. Boom. Second one lands. Boom. Third one just kind of rolls by. Then they cut again. Third one rolls by again. And then the second one's landing as the next guy throws it. And then the third one rolls by again. It's like...
It's the same shot over and over.
Same thing with the javelins. Like, javelins are just appearing and disappearing depending on how many are in the shot already.
See, I did some research, not for Hercules Unbound, but for the movie we just did. And I was looking at IMDb. I mean, obviously, IMDb is a great source, but obviously, like, it's a glorified Wikipedia. There's only so much information you can go on there. Like, if you look at, like, Sidney Lumet's filmography, it doesn't even include half the shit he worked on. But the budget...
Oh, God.
For the last movie. This surprised me, David.
Oh.
Because I don't believe it's true. Because the previous... Now, what was the last movie we just did?
The one before Hercules Unbound?
Yeah.
Oh, it was so boring.
See, it's hard for us even to remember.
No, I got this. Wicked Stepbrother.
Wicked Stepbrother.
Fuck that film.
That one was ridiculous.
What was it?
Apparently... According to IMDb, the budget for that movie was an estimated $1 million.
Okay, so I'm going to go get some bleach and drink it. I'll be right back.
I really hope that isn't true.
Mm-hmm.
Because this is the worst waste of $1 million I've ever seen.
They probably got $1 million for that film. Like, they raised $1 million for that film, and then just spread it among all
I know, but it's like they got $1 million to spread amongst all of the movies. Now, to be honest, actually, I could understand that. Roger Corman did that with a lot of movies, where he got a bigger budget, he split it in half, and made 2 films and made more money off of that. I don't imagine that this movie made a whole lot of money. I really don't. I don't fucking think it did.
Alright.
So,
Yeah, it's
and
not.
also, who would fucking buy a DVD of this shit?
Apparently we would.
There are people who have. There have been sales on Amazon. Like, this movie is sold.
Okay, I don't want to talk. This is getting me depressed.
It's extremely depressing.
Let's talk about the actual stuff now.
All right, let's move into the film now.
Bullet point here. Characters. The guys and Athena.
Hera and Zeus
They
are
weren't
off
characters,
screen.
they were voices.
Alright, none of the story with these characters makes sense. Because think about this. Alright, Zeus. You know Zeus. Everybody fucking should know Zeus, even if they have never actually even heard any of the myths. You should know who Zeus is. But the thing is this. Zeus is the king of the gods. He's not all-powerful. He's not the head. Like, he's not the head of the gods and whatnot because he is the strongest and whatnot.
Yeah.
It's just a whole mix of the different mythology that came through with Kronos and all that jazz.
Back in ancient times, gods like Norse and Greek, and don't know about Roman, but they were all
Romans are based off the Greeks.
They were all just pretty much accentuated humans. They were existed on a higher
have flaws.
Plane. They were flawed people, but they were gods. Unlike modern Christian God that's like, hey, you're perfect.
Perfect. But we're not going to get into theology.
No, that would...
Now, that would open a can of worms that we don't need to open right now.
But yeah, so all the gods were essentially flawed.
But think about this. In this movie, apparently Zeus tells Athena that Hercules is in her care, and whatever happens to him is her responsibility. Okay, one, Hercules is the bastard son of Zeus, so that actually makes him his responsibility. Two, Athena has absolutely nothing in stake whatsoever for Hercules to do whatever he needs to do in this fucking movie.
Not a damn thing.
And three, why doesn't Zeus just fucking help?
There's
this guy who's
a god.
I know, but like this guy,
a lightning bolt.
the antagonist, whoever Hera is, Hera is Zeus's wife. Bitch slap the fucker. But like, you know, the thing is, Hera sends down this assassin or whatever the holy hell he is. He's a human. He's doing her bidding. Dips his sword in poison. As you said, he does the Hamlet thing. He dips his sword in poison, trying to kill Hercules. You know, Zeus has a wonderful little tool that he could smite this guy with. It's called a fucking lightning bolt. I mean, you know, then of course you could say it's like, oh, Zeus is not trying to get involved directly with human worlds. I mean, are you kidding me? This guy has fucked more human beings than probably any human being on Earth.
All right, so let's real quick.
He's got more bastard children than the Vatican.
For the rest of this, okay, I want to try to analyze it in the way of this movie's logic. Because here's the one thing I gave Matt. He was all about the anachronisms at the very beginning. How it was like, this is wrong, that's wrong, that's wrong.
There are so many things wrong with this mythologically.
I'm willing to give Dakota the benefit of the doubt anything that Disney also did for its film Hercules. Because they did do a lot of Roman stuff. They did make a lot of stuff. He said how, if it was set back in that time, he should have been called Heracles instead of Hercules.
If you were doing the Greek, but the thing is, I can let crap like that slide.
We should.
And to be honest, like speaking of the Disney version of Hercules and whatnot, if you know mythology, you realize how wrong the majority of that movie is when it comes to mythology. It combines characters together to like crazy degrees that should never have been done in the first place.
Most of it was basically like Hercules and Theseus, right? Like it was just a combination of those two.
That, but also like, you know, the fates and whatnot. Like that was a blending together of like three different myths and whatnot. Like it was really pissing me off. But at the same time, it's a kids' movie, and I expect you just don't try to use it as a resource for a paper. But this movie even more so, because none of this movie whatsoever was going to happen. Now, if you know anything about the Hercules myth, you realize the trials he has to overcome in order to be considered not only, you know, who he is as the son of a god and all that kind of stuff, but also to be able to just basically survive. But this movie has nothing to do with any of that.
That's what I'm trying to say. Let's get away from it. No more talking about the myth.
Well, I have to establish this is the point. It's like I have to establish the fact that this myth includes all these elements so that you understand that this movie has absolutely nothing to do with the actual myths of any of these characters.
It's essentially Billy the Kid all over again. Billy the Kid, except he was a real person. Or was he?
Yeah, Billy the Kid was a real person.
He was an outlaw. He had an established thing. He was outlaw and he did all that. There was just taking something that didn't happen, slapping his name on it, and saying, there you go. Same thing with Hercules. This could have been just any sort of Greek-Roman time period, and they just slapped Hercules on it, and it's like, here, it'll sell!
This entire movie takes place by the pool.
Oh, that's the other thing. Yeah, but hold on, characters. We still didn't get
through
any of those. Hercules,
tool.
He's arrogant at the beginning, and then he's supposed to undergo character development. It's like, you know, I don't really need my powers. I'm strong without them. Thank you, Athena. Now I know that I can go off and die a broken and beaten man later on.
And, of course, you know, like, in the very beginning, he's all arrogant and whatnot. Like, I'm Hercules. I'm the son of a god.
Bitch!
And whatnot. I'm like, yeah, okay. And then he's supposed to undergo a change. We never see him. He just does.
He drinks the potion. And he's like,
that gives away.
All of a sudden, I'm not strong anymore.
So the fact that he was weak. So the thing is, really, the character change didn't really actually happen. There was no real character change. It was an act of desperation.
Yep.
And whatnot. So in reality, the character didn't change at all.
Nope.
Athena was wooden as shit.
She was. She was like, Hercules, I know you can do this.
For a goddess of wisdom, she was pretty stupid.
Yeah, that was the one thing. I would think a goddess of wisdom's pretty clever about stuff that goes on. Hercules...
Athena was a schemer!
Hercules, at one point, during the final fight, he tricks his enemy into dropping his sword. Trick being used very, very loosely here. Into dropping his sword. And
fight me like a man!
Yeah, fighting hand to hand.
You see this in, like, 80s action films all the time. It's like, put the gun down and fight me like a man. I'm gonna kill you!
And they go ahead and do that. But Athena, as soon as he drops the sword, her being in her infinite wisdom and knowledge, is like, Hercules, what are you doing? You idiot!
She couldn't see this obvious plan.
Super obvious plan? No? That was beyond you? Okay. Good job, Athena. I'm gonna revoke your goddesshood. You're done now.
The rest of these characters, they have a couple lines amongst each other. For the most part, they're just there.
It's essentially more of, it's not even lines. They're just like, hey, you shouldn't talk about Hercules behind his back, but he's not as strong as they say he is. But he is still stronger than you. Ah! Break it up, guys!
So he's strong, so you can't talk shit about him?
I don't fucking care.
I mean, we talk shit about Uwe Boll all the time, and he could definitely kick my ass.
He would.
He would totally kick my ass. He'd probably break my neck in half if he wanted to, but you know what? That ain't gonna stop me from talking about the
Then again, Hercules is, like, in their eyes, definitely son of Zeus.
I mean, well, the thing is, like, yeah, then that was part of the myth and all that jazz, but... Alright,
moving on.
We're just muddling everything.
Fuck it, we're done with
the characters literally were the most glaring issue with this movie besides the pacing.
Yeah, pacing. I want to go on to the settings real quick in the way of like where they shot it. Dagoto owns 2 houses. We've said this before. We think he owns them. He owns a super modern house, which looks all nice and neat and clean, but it's very modern. It has a lot of tacky furniture on the inside, so we definitely couldn't shoot there. He also owns a nice little wooden cottage, but it doesn't. This ancient Rome doesn't seem like it would be in this nice little wooden cottage. I don't fucking care.
Let's just say ancient.
Yeah, ancient. So ancient couldn't be shot there. So where was he supposed to shoot? Turns out his pool looks pretty ancient. It has a nice little statue, and it's all paved in white stone, and, you know, a hot tub made out of plastic that they all sit in for a while.
A motorized water fountain.
That's a little something. Yeah, so they shoot everything there. And on one day of the shoot, it was too rainy outside for them to do it. So what they did was they shot all the dialogue scenes.
They're all medium shots.
Inside the house!
You could see the reflections on the windows where they were shooting at.
Inside the house!
There's no continuity whatsoever. The settings are barely even explained. The same set is supposed to be different places in different areas and whatnot. Like when 2 of the characters get introduced, they're running, and they're like, "Oh, you caught up to me. Well, running's my specialty. Well, it's interesting that you caught up to me. Well, let's go to the camp and whatnot. All right, let's go to the camp. Oh, same exact place.
They run. Oh, look, we're back at the camp. Crazy.
I mean, like...
It's so stupid.
The laziness. The laziness of this movie. You seriously cannot tell me. Alright, there's this great little movie called Rome 75, if I'm not mistaken. It's part of the transgressive cinema movement in the early 70s, and into the mid-70s and whatnot. And it was shot on a budget of 0, basically. It was shot on stolen cameras with stolen equipment and stolen costumes and whatnot. And there was this great little room that they found. He was going through pretending like the director, I can't remember who it was, but he was going through pretending like, he was going to buy the place, and he was looking at it and it looked very Roman. It had a big dome ceiling and all that jazz. He went around, he unlocked all the windows, and then later that night when nobody was there, he and all of his cast and crew scaled up the fire escape, went in there and dressed the whole set like a Roman set. You know what? That's fucking effort. It might not have been a great movie, but at the same time, it was goddamn entertaining.
Dakota, on the other hand,
lazy.
He's not willing to
lazy.
He's not willing to leave his property in order to film, and that's not something a filmmaker should do.
I wonder if a talking pony is going to take place.
Oh, I hope so.
I'm hoping
Bigfoot Island takes place outside.
I mean, he has literally just made a couple more movies. I want to see like his Hansel and Gretel movie and whatnot. I want to see if that shot at his house. Is he just going to shoot the rest of his movies at his house? Eventually, we'll probably get to him eventually.
All right, but moving on. That was really anything else about the setting, because that's really all.
That's really it. It's the pool.
He purposely did not shoot his house. He only shot pool.
He got it a little bit in the shot.
Back.
He had got a couple deck chairs in there.
At one point, they're out like training, and they show some trees that still have like Christmas lights tied up on them. I'm like,
I think those lights always have Christmas lights.
Yeah, every single film they have Christmas lights.
Oh God! No, the thing is though, it was the very beginning of this movie was like 5 minutes of just the two photos of the Pantheon. And then the stock footage of the clouds moving that we've seen in like 4 of these other movies.
I have something to say.
What's that?
Zeus weighted ions.
I know, yeah. I completely forgot that I noticed that.
At the very beginning in the
It's the first time we stopped.
Zeus is like, I am Zeus, creator of mankind and god of gods. I have weighted ions to...
Yeah, ions, dude. It's called eons! Bitch!
Ions is what happens when you do stuff with electrons and protons and shit.
I mean, you don't think
How do you fuck that up?
I'm sorry, like, there is nobody checking these things. He doesn't
Google search that?
He doesn't proofread any of these scripts. Now, apparently this was written by a guy named Charlie Meadows.
It doesn't have the red underlined squiggles, so no one needs to bother checking it.
I guess he writes this in Celtics instead of Final Draft.
Oh.
But the thing is, this movie was written by the same guy, I believe, who wrote Wicked Stepbrother, and and also I think he wrote Frankenqueen.
I see a pattern.
Yeah, the most padded out of all these movies.
5 pages.
I seriously think that's all this is, like 5-10 pages max.
It's an outline. He hands him an outline and says, "Do what you want."
Probably. That makes a lot of sense. It would make a lot of sense considering how these movies are structured.
Yep.
All right. Moving on. I mean, the writing is the same. There's nothing there. I mean, there's nothing there even more.
To be fair, I am so glad we finally had somewhat of a coherent plot.
That is true.
I'm so glad.
There was a direct.
I could not take another minute of fucking Wicked Stepbrother-esque shit.
That movie was moving past acting. The actual acting of these characters,
Hold on.
It's...
I want to... No, I can't find anything. I wanted to find a piece of wood, and I would show you the acting ability. Just hold it up here. This is their acting. It's that bad.
Their acting is so wooden, it helps hold up this couch. I mean, like, it's really mind-boggling. Actually, no, it's not mind-boggling anymore. It's just the standard. It's the standard for 1313 films. It's really bad that these movies are lowering my standards so horribly. I mean, and obviously we've brought it up millions of times before that the worst movie for this show that we've seen is Sandy Hook. But this is pushing that.
It's getting close.
It's getting really close. I'm really terrified to see how actor/model is going to turn out. Because that, according to the Netflix ratings that we went off of, is the lowest rated 1313 film. Oh my god.
Alright. So yeah, acting wouldn't... camera? Not bad. It's okay.
I mean, David Dakota is the guy who shoots all of these movies. The one thing is, every scene has maybe 1-2 angles.
Yeah.
And it zooms in and shit like that. It goes all over the place. Yeah, there's a thing called a cut. Now, of course, there is a guy, I think his name is Benjamin Chang, who's the editor on all of these films. Alright, one thing is, we've noticed this. The ending credits are the exact same for all of these movies, for the most part. They maybe
changed the music up, but the text is
the text is the same, the names are the same, the order's the same for the most part. I think once in a while they'll change the writer up because they didn't have the same writer. They changed the actors, obviously. Yeah, they changed the actors. I'm like, but it's the same. So all of these people are on these movies. So I'm like, that's why I'm thinking, considering also the majority of these movies came out in 2012, that they literally just shot these movies back to back to back to back to back.
I feel like it's sort of like a, what's the word, like Ponzi scheme sort of thing.
Yeah.
Where they're just like, these people are all in on the scheme themselves and they're just trying to get actors. That's their money source almost. They're just like, what, you want to be in our film? $250, please? That's, okay, one thing I have to bring up, because we took a picture of it. Earlier on, we mentioned the stretching thing, but then we kind of moved past it.
And we're posing. We're posing.
There's one shot that just exemplifies everything in this film. Every pose in it. It is this beautiful little shot. Look at it. Look at it and enjoy it.
I don't want to look at it anymore.
That right there, that just summed up the last 5 minutes and
that summed up the entire
the
movie.
Middle 20 minutes. Yeah.
The padding starts literally like not even. Like,
it starts
at the very
minutes in.
Well, to be honest, actually, really the padding starts literally at the beginning with all that opening. But when it comes down to the story actually going along, yeah, it starts like 8-9 minutes into the movie, and it runs for the next 15
minutes of padding, I mean, technically it does have a bearing on the plot. It's their training. So.
Yeah, but it goes through every person doing the shot put, doing the javelin, wrestling, fighting with the sword, and flexing. And they're not even fighting with the sword, they're just swinging it around. This is another thing, and this is just a pet peeve of mine, because I am a really big fan of ancient cultures and whatnot. The classical period's a really great time for me. But the thing is, the swords they use. Anyone who knows a damn thing about Greek and Roman history
ancient.
will tell you that they're fighting with a gladius. It is a Roman short sword used by legionnaires. Two things about this. One, it's Roman. But I can pass that because a lot of people confuse both elements of the cultures a lot. So I'll give that a pass. Also considering the fact that gladiuses are probably cheap in the prop world. But, two, the way they were using it. They were swinging it around like it was a broadsword. Gladiuses are stabbing weapons. Have you ever seen Legionnaire shields? They're about 15 pounds and they're giant squares. They're meant for stabbing after battering and whatnot. That's one of the reasons why the Legionnaires were so effective. Now, you can say that's a pet peeve, and it is. But guess what? It's another thing that makes this movie unbearable for me.
Everyone has their own things about the movie that they may like, they may dislike, mostly dislike. We just happen to have a very particular taste in the way of everything in this movie is wrong for us.
Oh yeah, I also forgot the fact that all the characters in this movie, besides Athena, just wear loincloths.
Oh, God.
All of them
you saw
do.
it in the picture. We
didn't, all of them, like, they're all like that. They never dress, none of this stuff. You have to realize that Greeks only dressed like that when they were wrestling. They actually did wear armor. Like, you know, they were soldiers.
If they were fighting with swords just for, like, sparring purposes, I don't think they would take the risk of, you know,
they actually
killing each other.
Also, they wouldn't be sparring with real swords. They'd be sparring with wooden ones. Like, history. Do you speak it? Like, do you know it?
Alright, we're getting a bit long here.
Yeah, alright, so no. To the end of this, I mean, we really have covered everything.
Yeah, the loincloths. Now, we're gonna try. If it gets really bad, we might stop, but we're going to try to make a conscious effort to not say that it's gay, that everyone in here is just straight up flaming, because
they aren't.
They aren't.
But at the same time, though, there are so many aspects of these movies that just scream that. And again, we keep saying that we don't know David Dakota's sexual preferences, and nor does it matter.
Doesn't.
Like, to be honest, actually, there are plenty of homosexual-style movies and shows and stuff like that. Angels in America. off the top of my head, is my favorite play ever written. And it's one of my favorite miniseries ever made. It's all about homosexuality in America and all that kind of stuff, and a whole bunch of other themes too. But at the same time, that's its main central focus. These characters are far more flaming than any of the characters in those movies. And they're pretty goddamn gay. Have you ever seen Belize? He's amazing. I love that character. But these movies, I have a lot of gay friends.
God damn.
I do. I do have a lot of gay friends, and to be honest, actually, if I showed these movies to my friends, they would say probably that these movies were offensive to the gay culture. What?
So easy said that a lot. I was like, I have a lot of black friends, okay, so I'm okay with that's just the equating I made across that.
It is. It's like I don't have any fucking qualms with it and whatnot, but at the same time, it's just.
Overall,
it boggles my mind. This is what happens when someone... I have a feeling that David Koto isn't gay. Because this is probably what happens when someone who isn't gay tries to do something for a gay audience.
Yeah.
It doesn't get the
I would
point.
have no idea how to make a porn for a female audience. I would have no idea where to start. But for a male audience, which I'm a part of, I'd be like, I know what they want. Same thing with this guy. I don't feel like he knows what makes a homosexual audience hot and heavy.
And also, to be honest, regardless of whether it was meant for a homosexual audience or not, it doesn't fucking matter. This movie is hardly sexualized at all.
And it shouldn't matter what kind of audience it's made for. It's still a shitty movie overall.
Yeah.
Like, it could be made for fucking aliens. It's still a shitty movie.
I hope it's not made for aliens.
That would
suck.
make a lot more sense, though.
People would think, oh my god, this species needs to be wiped from
Independence
the face of the
Day is
earth.
about to happen because of David Dakota.
And Michael Bay.
Alright.
No, wrong.
Final thoughts. I'm fucking done.
Final thoughts?
Say it. Wait, sorry. One thing that you liked.
One thing that I liked?
Yes. Wasn't bad. I'll say that. Neutral or like.
I don't have anything.
I gotta think of something.
I literally don't have anything.
I'm neutral. I don't like it, but I'm neutral. I'm glad that he didn't put it in his house.
Yeah.
That he was conscious of that. Billy the Kid, I don't know if he forgot, or it was before this, or what. He put it in his house with the ceiling fans and the vents and all that. How do you fuck up that badly? But this, he's like, okay, I'm going to keep it so technology is at a minimum. Why he had that hot tub scene that literally had no impact on the plot, beyond.
It was literally, I think half of them were literally just jacking off underwater. At least that's what half of them looked like. There's this one guy who literally was going like this. And I'm like, I'm sorry, you cannot tell me that this guy is not waxing it underwater.
So, yeah, that's the only thing that I'm okay with. I'm glad he did
I mean,
that.
sure, masturbation in a hot tub is great, but still, at the same time...
Final thoughts! Shut the hell up!
But, I think the one thing I can think about that this movie did not have, and I was grateful for it, even though they still have padding at the wazoo, is it never went blue.
That's true. It never had a moment where it just cut away from the plot entirely.
This is the second movie in a row that we have that it did not go blue.
To be fair, though, if he could have,
he
the
would go
sports
blue.
montages would have been blue.
Yeah, they would be blue.
The fact of the matter, though, was it wasn't something that
It wasn't
should
a
have
dream
gone blue.
sequence,
It wasn't
it
a
wasn't
dream.
like-
It wasn't out of reality. It was happening.
You know what, to be honest, actually, every single time he probably talked with Zeus or something like that, I should have gone blue.
That's true.
You're talking to a god!
Every time they talked to Hera or Zeus.
Or Athena.
Athena was there,
Athena
though.
was there.
She was in the world.
Every time she stepped on, there should be just this bar of blue following her. And whatnot. And as soon as
Just
she
cropped around
and when she talks to somebody, the blue envelops them. So it's like the cone of silence and whatnot.
Do you have anything else?
I'm giving it way too much credit. No, I have absolutely nothing else for this movie.
My final thoughts. I thought it would be so much worse than it was. I'm so happy it wasn't.
It's just boring.
It was so boring. After Wicked Stepbrother, I'm like, okay, alright, you didn't take a step down, you didn't take a step up, but you didn't take a step down. Thank you, Dakota. It's just, I don't know. Wicked Stepbrother, I was forced to watch how boring it was, because something could have happened at, like, any moment. Hercules Unbound, you knew nothing was going to happen.
You knew exactly how this was going to end
knew
from the moment it
exactly.
started.
Hercules was going to learn his lesson, and Hera's emissary was just going to fuck off. That was exactly how it was going to end from the beginning. And nobody gave a shit the whole time. Would I recommend watching it? No, of course not. Don't fucking watch this.
Not even for a laugh. There's
Don't
nothing even laughable in this movie. It's just pain.
Just what's the next one on the agenda?
Night of the Widow.
All right, I'm done. Let's plow through it. We're 6 films done. We're more than halfway. We can get this done. It's just fucking gonna be terrible.
I know, like the 1313 series. To be honest, actually, it's kind of like the D student. Actually, no, it's a little bit more like the D kindergarten student with both cerebral palsy and Down syndrome, trying to finger paint with nubs and trying to play the flute at the same time.
Shut up!